This is the Comedy Slab. I think it's edition number 54. We're slabbing a certain radio show called The Pin. We will get to that shortly, a sort of surreal sketch show with a bit of sitcom hybridery. That's probably not a word. Anyway, I'm Adrian, and I'm in the deep southeast of England, and his Nibs is in the Midlands. We are joined, not at the hip, but at the Skype. And if it holds out, we can see each other purely for timing purposes. Let's face it, there's no other reason to want to see each other. Yes, you can put that away now and stop trying to spook me.
Stop waggling it.
Anyway, ask me what sort of week my my friends had.
Oh, yeah, what sort of week's your friend had? You had a bit of a week with your friend, haven't you?
Yes, my friend. My friend, coincidentally, like me, is separated from his wife. Well, he's had not one, but 2 dates this week. First dates.
Wow.
First new dates post-marriage going belly up.
Wow.
The chances of that. It's London bus syndrome.
Would say. What are the chances of that happening? He doesn't do that anymore, does he?
Does he not? Well, maybe he's found something else to say.
What are the chances? Anyway, how did it go?
Well, I'd have to ask my friend, of course. But,
of course,
if you want me to guess, interesting. Good research. But yeah, that's not really much of a story, is it? Because he's asked me not to reveal too much, being my friend.
Right.
Obviously not me.
Was everybody involved? Were they all humanoid?
It's a factoid they were humanoid, yes.
Cool.
That's
a bonus, isn't it? I would think.
I think your quid's in, really. If it's the same species.
Oh, yeah. I think interspecies dates have always been vastly overrated.
Tricky.
Yeah.
It's an additional complication, shall we say.
That we don't need.
Anyway, from true love to true love, you want to talk about football, I believe.
No, not at all.
Oh.
I was just sitting here waiting for you, and people don't realise, this is the thing, people don't realise how much you keep me. Do you know like when you're on a film set and the star is in their trailer, and everybody's like, all the sound man's there, the cameraman's there, the director, the producers are all there, they're all sitting around there waiting, and then in they burst wearing a cape and going, darling, where do you want me?
My feather boa as well.
Well, Adrian is this podcast's Solari, really. Grayson.
I thought that was one word, Solari. Like celery.
Slurry.
Seems to be the hardest word.
So I'm sat here, he's keeping me waiting, and he's in his trailer.
I was working.
To be or not to be. Warming up and all that business. But I was just watching on the TV. I was going to say on the monitor, because you always do that, don't you? When you're recording something, if you're doing a radio show or a podcast, and I've just been watching on the monitor. All of a sudden, your TV turns into a monitor. I'm sat at home, and this is it's on the TV. Who am I trying to kid?
Yeah.
If you're in a radio studio, you go, well, I'm just looking on the monitor here.
Yeah.
It's a TV. What's the matter with you?
I've
done it anyway.
Us media folk.
Exactly. And I'm just watching it on the TV, and it's A View to a Kill, James Bond, Roger Moore.
I could sing the song, get us into legal hot water.
But one of the characters is wearing a monocle. And I thought, you don't see that very often these days, do you? They've really gone out of fashion, haven't they? Since the Nazis took them up in the Second World War.
Do you think that's where it went wrong?
I think so. It's like you don't have kids called Adolf, do you? That's the same.
That's the same, yes.
Whereas it's the same forces at work.
Yes. Whereas before the war, virtually every second child.
Yeah.
Okay.
You go into a school and shout Adolf in Germany, and all the kids are turned around by the teacher. Do you know what I mean? That's how.
You're answering the correspondence, mate, not me. I wish to distance myself from this story.
I don't know how we got into this. I was on monocles.
You started it, yeah. It's a short step from monocles to Nazicles.
But what? Nazicles. But they don't sound as evil when you call them that, does it? But,
no.
But we both wear glasses, and I'm just kind of thinking, I couldn't. And you have to pull a funny face, don't you, where you wear a monocle?
It's inevitable.
Patrick Moore used to wear one, didn't he?
Yes, one of his many eccentricities.
And
yeah.
I don't know, it's just a thought.
Can't see the advantage to it unless you've got one good eye and you put it on the bad one.
No. Did you see in Birmingham, That was Tim Brooke-Taylor, Graham Garden, and Bill Oddie.
Goody.
The Good Eyes.
Oh.
Right, come on, hurry up. The Good Eyes are on.
Good Eyes. That was terrible.
Oh, it's true.
Shall we move swiftly on?
Yeah. Can I just say, don't send me a monocle in the post if you're listening to this podcast, but I will try out the ones, the glasses without the arms on them.
Is that the
Are they arms or legs?
I never know how to pronounce that. Is it pince nez? They pinch on the nose. Do you mean
That's
those with
yeah.
Didn't
what are they called? A pan of chocolate? What?
Something. It's spelt pince, but it's probably pants, not pants.
Pants?
I know how your mind works. PINCE
pants on your head.
hyphen
Yeah.
NEZ. FUNEZ. Nay for your schnoz.
Right. Sorry, one final question.
Oh, God. Yeah, okay. You did say we could start, but...
Did your friend say whether there would be a second date in any of the...
Oh, well, that would be telling, species? But there are rumours to that effect of perhaps one rather than the other.
Blimey.
Yeah, I know.
Both would be too complicated, wouldn't it, really?
Well, it would, yeah. He would be a victim of his own success.
Yeah, particularly on the same night.
Well, yeah, it can get too much.
In the same restaurant. Yeah, go on.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm writing a farce here while we're talking.
Yeah, feel free. It's all gone a bit Alan Ayckbourn.
It has.
Whoops, there go my trousers.
Oops, I'm British, where's my trousers?
Oh, no, that's Brian Ricks, is it?
Brian Ricks, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. You've got to get the right Brian. Right.
Well, tell him well done anyway. Tell him well done from me.
I will do. I'll thank you. Thank him. No, I'll thank him from you. Thank you from... Anyway.
Tell him I'm glad I sent him those iron tablets now. So it's paid off.
Yes. In moderation.
Yes.
So, The Pin is a surreal sketch show. I'm not allowed to ask you before we hear the first of 3 audio clips from it, am I? As to your reaction.
No.
Did you tell
people... Did you tell people what you do? Are you not going to bother this week? We're not going to...
Oh, well, I did.
No, not what we do, like what the podcast is all about. Are you going to... Because
I suppose it's implicit. Well, okay, we waste the first few minutes. I think that's fairly obvious. We shed a shed load of listeners.
I spoke to you for a week.
Yeah, okay. Comedy Slab is a slab on which we put the comedy, notionally, or maybe literally. I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. See why it got its name. Yeah. So each week is a different comedy, be it TV, radio, or podcast, or other digital downloady type thing. And no, I'm not telling you. I'm telling them. You should know this. This is it's hopeless. It undermines the whole thing. That would be like pretending a friend of yours was going on dates when actually it's yourself. I mean, that's hopeless. Who's going to get away with that? Caper.
I'm just trying to give it a bit of realism. I was just trying
realism with your acting skills. Anyway, so there's this comedy, right? And we take it in turns, right? Each week we alternate.
Really?
Like a current. Yes, really. And it was my turn to set the homework at the end of last week's show for this week.
Yeah.
And I know you know. It's like Basil
I was just
Brush.
agreeing with that.
Yes,
that wasn't
yes. And anyway, so we turned your attentions to Radio 4, where The Pin has actually come to the end of its 4th series. It was handy to remember Series 4, Episode 4. Yeah. But as we speak, I'm gonna plough through this if it kills me. As we speak, it is still available, or as we hack, because he's an old hack. It is available for N weeks where N isn't nearly enough, especially when you're Shane whinging about the licence fee, but we won't dwell on that. Anyway, it is available in some form, and if it's available in other forms other than the BBC Sounds app or bbc.com if you're outside the UK, you can be sure Shane will sprinkle links to that in the blurb to this particular edition of the Comedy Slab. Is that clear enough?
I can't help it. I'm a natural sprinkler.
Sprinklinkler.
Yeah.
That was
brilliant. That was crystal. It was opaque by comparison.
Okay. You've got another expression that's slightly less podcastable, but we won't dwell on that. Super. So, clip 1 of 3. Now, given that it's Well, I said it's a hybrid. This is a first for them in this series, at least. They had 3 series where it was, I think, for all intents and purposes, a sort of, as it were, a pure sketch show. That doesn't mean so pure that you might not want to check it. It's okay for really young children, but it's generally pretty clean, isn't it?
I thought so. I was overwhelmed how clean it was, and I don't think there was a swear word in it, was there?
I don't think so. Anyway, it goes out, or has been going out at 6:30 in the evening, although they do occasionally Jeff, if not F, at that hour on Radio 4. It's a BBC Studios production, and I just need a prompt. Chat amongst yourself for a moment.
Prompt.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Prompt. Clip number 1. What I've put here is hall manure. Oh, yes. Now, this... immediately I'm there.
At least you're doing it in the nice way. You could have written that in a different...
I could have... Well, who knows that I didn't. But that's the term they use as well.
Porch manure, couldn't you? That would have been terrible. Yeah, go on.
That would be. A whole heap of horse hall. Anyway, so the conceit, if you will, is that they are at... these 2 friends are the Pin, and they are Alex and Ben, handily A and B, I suppose. And they are... which way round is it? They're at one of their mothers. Oh, gosh. Prompt?
I don't know, actually, but
No.
I mean,
I think it's Ben. I think it's notionally Ben's mother. But they're in danger of being ousted because she wants to get a tenant. So guess what, folks? That's why this episode is called Sabotage, because they want to sabotage Mum's plans to get in a tenant or 2.
Well, listener, let's just say that this viewing is going to be sabotaged by us.
Really clear statement again, man. Nice one.
Oh, hello.
Hi, I'm Dave Gilby, Brilliant Property.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, no, that's the name of my agency.
Yeah, no, I know. Oh, yeah. I was just saying thanks for saying hello. Yeah, cheers.
No problem. Oh, this is Jane.
Hey.
Hi, Jane. Hi. How are you finding the property so far?
Well, I was going to ask something, actually.
Oh, yeah?
Does the hallway always smell?
Of manure? Yeah, unfortunately, yeah.
Really? Why?
Sadly, Jane, a horse lives there.
A horse.
Stallion, really, yeah. Big old boy. So, yes, it is a case of the hallway being used as a, just day-to-day, excuse my language, bad bog.
Oh, Jane, I mean, I'm sure that's something we can talk to the freeholder about.
Yeah.
Well, all through that clip, because we're connected by Skype, I was deliberately pulling misleading faces.
Were you secretly enjoying it, you rotter? You look like you passed out at one point.
You're right, I'm no good at acting, am I, really? Yeah, just to throw him off the scent, because we do this thing where we don't tell each other. The scent of a woman. We do this thing, don't we, where we don't tell each other what we think of it just until we actually start recording, and then all will become clear. And it does put a bit of subliminal pressure on the other one if you've chosen something and you think, oh, have I ruined their week by making them listen to bad comedy? But you have nothing to fear.
Oh, phew.
Other than fear itself.
Well, I'm afraid of that.
Yeah, I mean, what a great concept.
Really, because I have to say, in my second listen, which this is why I kept you waiting while I was in the Winnebago, I went right up to the wire and then a bit beyond the wire. I don't mean I was watching the wire. I was listening second time round. Thank you.
You watched the wrong programme.
Yeah. I'm ready to slab that. But I really thought, second time through, I thought, there's no way he's going to like this. It just didn't seem to hit your tone. I was going to say, in my defence, I was going to say, if you said you didn't get on with it, I'd say you're just 30 years too old, mate.
Right. Do you know what? And when you said there were a couple of youngsters, and my heart sank a bit because I thought that would be an issue there would be a barrier between the younger generation comedy and older generation comedy. But I just think these guys are great. I mean,
great.
I mean, I liked the sound of them, as it were. But even more than that, I really loved the whole premise. I love this idea of you breaking in and out of a sketch show.
Excuse the sirens off.
That's sorry. Have I awoken the critic police or something?
Yeah, they've gone now.
And I was trying to think. Can you think of anywhere that's done that previously, where they kind of like? I mean, I suppose didn't they do that with alternate comedy? It feels a bit like a Lexi Sale kind of thing.
What specifically? Linking sketches from a notional place? Do you mean? I didn't quite get it.
Like a sitcom, because you said that it's like a pseudo sitcom sketch show, isn't it? Kind of thing. It kind of it like breaks in and out of.
To be fair, I nicked it off the blurb. BBC site has the pin as a sketch-sitcom hybrid. So
because that's what they've been told it is, isn't it? By the guys who are in the pin. I mean, that's
the producer would have written that probably. Or,
yeah. Or they've said this is what we do.
Yeah. Because I'm thinking that if you think of Hancock's Half Hour, they stay in that place, don't they? They're not sketching, although you might sort of subdivide it into scenes which might superficially resemble sketches. But I can't. I tell you what it made me think of, shows that have tried to break the fourth wall, even going back to poor Sean Hughes. Sean Hughes show. Was that what it was imaginatively called on Channel 4? Shawnee. That was the running, this kind of opening music. But it was. We can see the sets, and we get to see the cameras and so on. So he's kind of saying he lives there, and yet we know he doesn't. It's that sort of conceit, which I have to say, 30 years behind the curve. Arguably, your favourite show, not Mrs. Brown's Boys, is doing the same thing in a way. You certainly see I see my mate up on the boom, the sound boom, at the beginning of the show.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's different from that because it's kind of like the sketches can reference the sitcom and the sitcom reference the sketches, so it's like there's like a double awareness. Whereas that's different from seeing behind the curtain, isn't it? In a way, I think. I just. The more I heard of it, the more I thought, what a great concept, because it then allows you to write different kind of gags. I mean, if you get into a cul-de-sac in the sitcom writing, you can give it a surrealist twist by just breaking out into a sketch, can't you?
But some might argue, some purists might say, "Oh, that's a bit lazy, isn't it? Or that's a bit too convenient to do that."
It would be. Were it not funny, and I think that's the difference. And I think the writing is pretty keen, and I mean, there was parts of it that kind of made me chuckle, and all of it I enjoyed. The interesting thing I think is because we heard 30-minute episodes, because you're right, it now goes out at 6:30 in the evening on a 30-minute episode, and I've actually gone back, and I'm going to have a listen to. You can hear the all previous 3 series, can't you, as well?
I thought I'd seen them, but yeah.
Yeah, they're all available. But they started out as a 10-minute... Well, the first episode was 10 minutes, and then the others were like 15 minutes for the first 2 series, weren't they?
I've got a feeling... I hadn't gone back this time round, but I think I caught them during that phase.
Did what, live?
Well, as it went out kind of thing, yeah. And I suspect that was the Wednesday night, which we've talked about before, tends to be a bit more experimental. We've slabbed 1 or 2 15-minuters, haven't we? Which have come from that slot. I suspect they were in that slot. Isn't that with an audience as well?
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that, because it was only when I listened to a bit of the first episode of the first series, and you're right, it was with an audience, and I forgot that the one we slabbed wasn't with an audience.
Right.
And I thought, oh, right, okay, I'm not really quite sure how it works different. I just kind of forgot that it hadn't got it. I kind of thought, it got it in my head that it had got an audience, but it hasn't, has it? No.
So have you got any feelings about that? Any thoughts on which works, or do they each work in their own way?
As Bernie Winters once said, I like it. I do. I like it. I kind of think that it kind of works. And I tell you why. I recently went back to listen to. I'm a big fan of David Sedaris,
who we've slabbed.
I recently bought because I've told you before, haven't I? I've got an Audible
account. Your only subscription, we were learning.
Yeah, that's the only one that I kind of like, the audiobooks. And I hadn't got, for some reason, Series 6 of Meet David Sedaris. And you can get it as an audio download as a book. So I used a credit for that. I thought, that'd be great. I'll have that. And I listened to it. I listened to all of the episodes, and it reminded me of, there was a rogue laugher in Hancock.
Yeah.
And there was this bloke all the way through Meet David Sedaris going, like, and I thought, oh God, now I've heard it. It's really,
you can't unhear it, can you?
No, exactly. So, and I kind of think there is always that danger that a live audience can usurp it all, really, or certainly suck some of the energy out of it. Do you think? Would you rather hear an audience in that situation or not?
It can feel a bit old school these days. I don't know, but I certainly wasn't missing them in this show. And I think it suits this contemporary feel not to have it. Although, I mean, they have perfectly healthy reactions in the earlier shows, as I recall.
Right, yeah. There's nothing untoward, nothing that sticks. Because that's what you want, don't you? You want sort of a homogenised audience, don't you? Really, you don't want anybody going.
I prefer them pasteurised.
Yes.
Anyway, we must move on. You might.
She said, I prefer a pasteurised because pasteurised is best, and I said I'd be quite happy if it comes up to my chest.
Boom, boom, Benny Hill. We're back
Hill.
there again, aren't we? Gosh, it's going to get to the point where we can say with confidence, we've slabbed them, we've slabbed them, we've slapped them.
We have. Yeah.
But we might have to come back to slab a second time round. Anyway, all our back catalogue is up in glorious Techni audio. So just look, we're based at Spreaker. It's also on the YouTube. We'll give more details towards the end of the show. So, clip 2, you like this. It's about footy, a sketch about football. You might well remember this, depending on how recently you listened to it in the week. This is, I don't need to say an awful lot, really, because sketches kind of announce themselves, don't they? So, it's Alex and Ben and one of their sketches.
Simon, hello. Thanks for coming in.
Okay, first and foremost, I appreciate that Manchester United isn't just a football club. No, it's a global brand. Okay, so if you made me your marketing director, I would seek out new corporate partnerships to monetize the Man United name even further. Let me give you an example. At the moment, you've got a car partnership with Chevrolet. Well, why stop there? If you hire me, I'll negotiate a deal with a tyre company.
So we've actually already got a tyre sponsor.
Right. Really?
Yeah, Apollo tyres.
Apollo tyres.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, well...
But yeah, if you've got anything else,
how about this then?
Go for it, yeah.
The Man United team has to fly all over the world.
Sure.
So why not strike a partnership with an airline?
So yeah, again, our airline partner has already established it's Aeroflot.
Okay.
Well, no worries. Thanks for coming in, Simon.
Paintman.
Pardon?
I'm just thinking on my feet. An official paint partner?
We've got Dulux.
Of course you do. Have you got an official bird?
We do, yeah.
No, you don't.
The Man United bird officially is the grey-crested grebe.
Okay, official cartridge?
For printers or guns?
Either.
Got both.
Fine. Veil?
Bridal item or the Valley?
Either.
Got both.
Both again.
And alarmingly, a lot of those are true, aren't they?
Well, the whole tone of it is true, isn't it?
When he says, "Have you got a bird?" he says, "Yeah," and he would, "No, you don't."
Of course they have. And it has to be
I'm glad you
agreed.
chose that clip because pacing, isn't it? There.
They're falling over each other, and yet it's beautifully in some strange sort of sync. It works, doesn't it?
Yeah. It just makes it sound like ultra realistic, doesn't it? You know, you kind of really get absorbed and fall into that. Yeah. Into that sketch. I don't know. I mean, I'm really struggling to say anything too critical about these two.
It's not like you at all.
No.
Have you had a bump in the head in the week or something?
They're just to me, it was just like a real golden find. I mean, you know, this is the one great thing is that we both, I think, travel in different comedy circles, although we like very similar kinds of things. And, you know, you'll find stuff that I've never come across, and I'll find stuff that you've never come across, and I think that's the beauty of choosing for each other, or one of us choosing one week and one choosing the next, is that it provides that kind of sort of disparate range of comedy. But I mean, these guys, I don't know. There's just they are like part of the new generation. The Tom Basdens and the Tim Keys and that kind of thing. They are, to me, they're a bit younger than them, but they are of that generation and that kind of ilk. And I was really struggling to find anything that I could be critical of, even when they do a gag and you kind of think, I know where this is going. And then they get to the bit that and then they tack a bit on the end that twists it.
Yeah.
And you just think, oh, I didn't know it was going there.
Yes. I would say there is a problem that we've had recurring with certain actors, but it depends how you feel about them as to how forgiving you feel towards them. There are no accents, are there? There's very little light and shade in what they do, and sketch to sketch they sound the same.
Are you saying that's a bad thing?
I'm being a bit fussy and I suppose hinting at that without wanting to be nasty. Now I've discovered they're your new Bezzy mates. But the other thing is, of course, it's our old friend, effectively the BBC /RP received pronunciation accent.
Yeah, I think that's what happens if you fish in the Oxbridge Pond, though, isn't it? Really, I mean,
But I thought that might make you angry that yet again a Brummie has been denied a little gig.
Well, no, because I've said to you before, I believe in meritocracy. So
it's not meritocracy if one university or two, Oxbridge FM, runs away with the most of the prizes.
Well, if that's where the funniest thing is coming from, then that's where the funniest thing is coming from. I mean, I'm not saying that it is, because I can't prove or disprove that, but it's like you say, if that's if that's the only pond that they fish in, then we're hearing the funniest of that particular pond. So it isn't particularly diverse. I do accept that. But to me, the test is it funny? Are they talented? Are they capable? And if it ticks those boxes, those should be the only boxes that you're ticking. Personally, that's how I feel about it. I don't know. I mean, you're right, and that thought crossed my mind about that. Like, you kind of think on paper, you think, well, it's just you just hear the two of them all the while. Hang on, are we critiquing this podcast? You just hear the two of them all the while, but it didn't seem to drag it down. I don't know why. I mean, maybe after 4 series, I'll be sick to the back teeth of him. I don't know, but do you know what I mean? It didn't. I noted what you said, and I felt the same, and I thought, oh, maybe that is that, but it didn't seem to. It didn't seem to hurt it. It
feels like for you that classic thing of feeling its heart was in the right place, so you could forgive it certain things.
But it was good. It has to me. It has to be good, and that is the ultimate thing. And good, I know, is a completely subjective term. What I think is good is different for everybody else. But if I come away thinking, I thought that I really enjoyed it, I thought that was good, I thought it was funny, I thought it was clever, I thought it was bright, I thought it was intelligent. If it's those kind of things, to me, it doesn't really matter who made it. Although you're right, I do get a little bit. And to me, this is the double whammy that you've got. Where they footlights, aren't they? I think.
Yeah, Cambridge footlights. Yeah.
So you've got the Cambridge footlights thing, and they were discovered at the Fringe. I mean, comedy commissioners, come on, go somewhere else on your holidays other than Scotland.
But haven't you undermined your own argument by saying they're the best of the best?
No, I'm guessing they are, but I don't know what pond the comedy commissioners are fishing in. And my fear is that, unless it goes to the Fringe, they don't notice it. I don't know. I just kind of think I get sick of reading that in the blurb that and they had a successful. They either won the Perrier Award or they were at the Fringe, and you think, can you find anyone from anywhere else? There must be other people doing stuff, and maybe there isn't. Maybe that's it. Maybe that's the arbiter of
No, I mean, there are so many places you could go, but it would be a bit of a scattergun approach. And I guess they want it to some extent pre-filtered. They could use the argument, which I think would carry some weight, that it's a resources issue. But I bet there's some keen as mustard people you could say, oh, do you want to do a bit of headhunting for us? And they do it for threat and halfpenny. But whether you'd annoy the unions by doing that, I don't know.
Maybe that's what it is. I don't know. But it's always the same old, and always has been, hasn't it? Even in the in the 80s, you think of Stephen Fry and Hugh Laurie, and there's the same formula for finding people.
Yeah.
That's what I find a bit disheartening, but I find it difficult to criticise them for this, because I kind of get the feeling if that wasn't the process, they would still shine anyway, whatever the process was. Does that make sense? I don't know if that sounds a bit...
Yeah, I think, you've gone on a kind of gut feeling about on the talent front, really. Is that fair?
Yeah, I think, and they're talented, aren't they? There's no question they're talented individuals. They're good writers and they're good performers. And I think that kind of wins out over everything else. Do your heart sink when you think, oh, and it says in the blurb, oh, and they're at the Fringe, and they were at Footlights before that, and you think, oh, come on, really?
It partly does, but I also understand it at the same time. Maybe I'm just being or trying to appear too reasonable. I don't quite have your criticism. I mean, we talked about last week, that had roots at the Edinburgh Festival, didn't it? And I just think, or no, it was it the other week, the podcast.
The week before last, East Coast
Listening Post, yeah.
Yeah.
And I just thought, I didn't really care in the end where it had been discovered. I just was glad it had been discovered, because I thought it worked in its own terms as a radio show sending up, or also a download, of course, a podcast sending up a podcast, or American podcast.
You see, for me, the difference with that, I didn't think it had anywhere near the strength that this has got in terms of writing or performance, or conceptually. I don't think it came.
If I had to guess, I might have thought you'd go the other way around, really, because of the light and shade within the East Coast Listening Post, characterizations as opposed to, a more generic style of the two guys, Alex and Ben.
I have got one criticism, and I'll save it because I don't know what your final clip is, and it could be that your final clip is my one criticism.
Your bête noire. Or your bête lynch.
Lovely girl.
Only yesterday she was sitting on your knee. Right, moving swiftly on. Is it the third and final clip? It must be by now.
It is, yeah.
Golly gosh. How time flies when you're having fun. Just look at my clue here. Well, it will kind of give it away a bit too much, but no, actually not too much, because I've got to give it away, really. Given that I chose to... There is a bit of a spoiler, I suppose, but given its comedy and given that it will endure more than one listening, I think I get away with this. Otherwise, dear listener, fast forward for a minute or so and you might skip it a minute and a half. So, guess what? Well, they got turfed out of one home because Mum found them out, their act of sabotage. But they find a new home for Ben in an unexpected place, and yet for Alex, a strangely expected place that he hasn't mentioned.
Okay, well, listener, it looks like we've got an amazing new home for the show.
With total freedom and zero interruptions, just like we always...
Alex, I've put the children to bed, so can you go and tuck them up? And then can we have a chat, because I've got some questions about where you've been for the last 3 months.
Yeah, all right, sweetheart. Yeah, nice one. Will do.
I've also got some questions.
A few queries, yeah. We'll do it in one big session, proper Q&A format. Well, listener, I guess we have now learned that you shouldn't hide the fact you've got a family, any more than you should hide the fact you were in jail for 15 years.
You were in prison?
Yeah.
Well, it's going to be a really big session then.
Welcome home, Sir Alex. The moon dogs are ready.
Nice one. I'll see you in the sacrifice chamber, Chronon.
Chronon? The size of this Q&A?
Bigger all the time, yeah. And I once went to Belgium.
Well, that one's fine.
Again, I just we'll have a proper Q&A format. You know, it's
Can't wait for that show, can we?
yeah, it's just awesome. Yeah, no, he wasn't. He wasn't. I thought you were going to pick a piece that was the bit that I would probably be.
Let me guess. The Barge People.
No, no.
Okay. It went a bit
Although
surreal and musical.
That's my pet hate, calling narrowboats barges. You know, it's
Yeah, it gets under your skin, doesn't it?
oh, I tell you, it's almost as bad as railway station and train station. That
I
one.
think it's as broad as it's long, though, with barges.
Oh, very good, very good. You and your flat bottom. No, it was for me. It was the music bit that they did. You know, they did a little.
Is it the dirty
singing.
guitar? Oh, yeah, right. Not the
I can't
the
remember
Barge
what it was.
People were singing though. But you're talking
Was that
about
the barge people?
But there probably was another musical bit as well, which I haven't taken a clip of.
There was a couple of music, and I've always had a bit of a problem with that. With the comedy song. And just after I'd listened to it the second time round, I thought, yeah, I'm not keen on the musical bit. That evening, there was a Two Ronnies repeat on.
I was thinking of the Two Ronnies, the big production number at the end.
Well, it was the Jehoshaphat and Jones, which was my...
We knew what she said, the country and western guys.
They were, yeah, kind of like they sat on two stools with two guitars.
Ding-it-dum, one of those.
Yeah.
Right. You didn't like that at all at the time.
And they were my least favourite. They were kind of recurring as well, but they were my least favourite of the musical bit, which was my least favourite bit of the show. And I've always, and even like Victoria Wood, I always used to be like really embarrassed when Victoria Wood did a song.
Yeah, that was their roots though. Apart from Beat Me on the Bottom with a Woman's Weekly.
Yeah, Barry and Frida was the only one that was like kind of shone for
Was
me.
it the Ballad of Barry and Frida?
I think so, yeah.
Which is probably, yeah.
So I don't. So I could have done without that, to be honest.
Right.
Just drop the singing. I don't know if you've not heard any other episodes, have you? Do they do? They don't do it every time, do they? Or
I don't think so, but it's been a while since I heard, as we were saying, those 15-minuters, which I think, as I say, were Wednesday nights. And I have to say, the musical bit in this show made me think, oh, this would work better Wednesday night, sort of a later night time slot. Something right. It went surreal, didn't it? I suppose they were always surreal in a sense, but it seemed to go off the scale surreal.
Having said that, I mean, there were two standout sketches for me. The one was the bears at a wedding,
but that needed accents for me. But I suppose once you go down that route, we don't want to ruin every sketch. But I suppose they'd have had to have been authentically sounding like, Winnie the Pooh and Paddington. So on.
That's a good point. Actually, I never thought. But yeah, you're right. That is a point where you would have to do from different voices. I mean, essentially, they were just saying it was about weddings and about how it was like a commentary on how tables always end up with people of a similar ilk. And they put
the gay people together.
Yeah, it was like all the bears were at the same. They're going, oh, how lazy putting all the bears together. So there was
as if we're going to get on automatically just because we're bears.
I just love that. And the other one was the guy buying the Greek plates.
Oh, I could see where that was going. And that's an old joke told against your countrymen usually. Sorry, folks, to spoil it, but I'll tell you the Irish joke as I heard it in very unreconstructed time, so I do apologise, but it's the supposedly the, and this is all heavily in quotes, and I distance myself from it, but the Irish guy whose job is to test matches. That one works. That one works. You know where it's going, and it was exactly the same, just with different things.
Although I don't know, there was something about. I think it's the mix of the sketch and the sound effects,
right?
And then at one point you think, well, that's not a plate. That was a bigger smash. And he was going, well, you've done. Well, I don't know what you did that for. And he said, because that wasn't just that you threw it through the window.
Yes.
And you kind of think, that's and so it's like even for the audiophiles amongst us, it's kind of like true to itself as well. But it reminded me, and this is a true story if you know, but you know I'm from obviously from Birmingham originally, and I can't think for the life of me what it's called, but there used to be a Greek restaurant in Birmingham on a lovely sounding place in Birmingham called Paradise Circus.
Right.
And these were in the days when you could drive through cities without,
Let or hindrance.
huge fines or paying a congestion charge or sitting in traffic or whatever. And you used to drive around Paradise Circus, and like about 10 o'clock at night, they used to empty this Greek restaurant. They go, "Come on, everybody outside, we're going to go and smash the plates."
Gosh.
And so, like, if you weren't expecting it, you would drive around the corner around Paradise Circus.
You think there was a fight?
Yeah, there'd be like 30 people on the pavement smashing plates out from over their head, like onto the pavement. There'd be like shards of white plate all over the place and all that. And it kind of reminded me of that. Which
Try explaining that to your car insurance people. But surely the point of plate smashing, I've never been there to witness it, but you do it on tables, don't you? You dance on tables and you don't go outside for it. That's not very authentic.
I think it's just
Greek,
easier to sweep up, wasn't it, really?
Yeah.
They were
lazy.
Brummies, so,
Brummie Greeks, the worst kind.
Yeah. Oh,
Anyway.
Did you have a nice night? They all went, yeah, it was smashing.
They do that same joke every night.
Yeah.
So I think we can't put it off any longer. This has to be the point where we each mark the show out of 5 stars, top them up, and get a score out of 10 for the two of us together.
Difficult, I have to say, as well. And this is the thing I thought the other day. Is I've watched other episodes. We did the Year of the Rabbit, didn't we? The what's his face? I can't remember his name.
Matt Berry.
Matt Berry comedy.
Yeah.
And I think I gave that a 4. Did we both give it a 4? I think it got 8 out of 10. No, hang on.
Or 8.5, was it even?
It got a 8.5. You're right. So it was a 4 and a 4.5, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And I think something occurred to me. I thought if I watched the whole series, I would judge it differently.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the thing, isn't it? Is that we're watching or listening to a snapshot, one episode, and so you kind of, the rest of the episodes could be real turkeys, couldn't they? Or
yes,
too formulaic or whatever. So I mean, that is the proviso when we score this, is that we are scoring that one particular episode rather than the whole series, as it were.
Mm. And like one of the bears, which one would it have been? Was it Winnie the Pooh was in a mood because of the sugar lows? Was that?
Yeah.
I know it was Paddington. He hadn't had enough honey. That's why he was grumpy.
It was just.
So we might. What I was going to say was that we might be in a bad mood when we watch or listen. That certainly affects me sometimes. I had that in the heat wave. I had one perception one night at 39 degrees Celsius, and I reconsidered
that was Archer,
totally.
Wasn't it?
That was Archer just last week.
Last week, yeah.
Yeah, I reconsidered when the mercury dropped 10 degrees Celsius.
So we make him watch it in the fridge now.
Yeah. Which is where I've moved in there now, in a surreal way.
Nice one.
Doing a sketch show there. Right, yes, over to you, Boo-Boo.
So do you want me to go first, yeah?
Yeah, because I'm a coward.
Okay, I'm going to give it a 4.5.
Blimey.
I really enjoyed it, and I look forward to listening to the previous 3 series and the other episodes in the 4th series as well. I think, to me, it has been a golden find. I think
very pleasantly surprised. Shocked.
Fab. I really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed it. Very talented lads.
Gosh. Well, it's going to be a bit of a damp squib, me giving it slightly less now. Ironically, since I chose... No, not that bad. 3.5 I was going for. One thing I've already picked up on, the accents or lack of, and the fact, I open my mouth and I sound a bit like them, because same part of the country, or that's how people sound when they're from different parts of the country, but they're kept away from the local children, which, may I say, I wasn't. It's just like, Anyway, so there's that. There's also wretched doorbells. Don't start me on that. I know it's meant to be surreal and ho, we can do anything with our sound effects. It's the BBC doorbell, the same one that's used in awful panel shows. Well, not awful panel shows, but an awful bell sound used in perfectly decent panel shows that for me are undermined. And I should point out to new listeners, I am, if it's not already obvious, a sound nerd and a very tragic soul. But no, it's all, and the door sounds as well.
Was it the doorbell? Was it a tring or a ding dong?
It was a tring.
I thought it was. Yeah. I know what you mean.
Which is all very well if you're in tring.
Isn't that real? That is real life in it. I mean, that is what you're more likely to come across, or a
no,
bing
it just it's like there's a baby sound effect. I don't know if you pick up on it, especially since you know that your young kids produce different sound effects from minute to minute. There's a cry that I know is BBC ECD. I can't remember the track number now, but it comes from originally a CD, a collection of baby cries, and there is only one type of cry for a certain kind of anxiety at a certain age. And I hear it in dramas, and I think, oh, can't you just go out and, I don't know, go to Shane's kids and upset
they're
them
always
somehow.
crying.
Exactly, yeah. They hate their dad already.
They must be miserable.
They must be. Well, they're brummies, for goodness sake. Anyway, so 3.5 out of 5, but that's still pretty good. And normally on a normal week, 3.5 is huge, effusive praise from you, but you've just surpassed yourself with your excitement.
I gave it a 4.5, basically on the basis that I couldn't really, other than the song, which I kind of got a bit of I realised I need aversion therapy to sort that out for myself. But other than that, I'm really struggling to find something that either I didn't like or that I could, be critical of, and couldn't.
Actually,
really.
I've thought of another criticism. Sorry, just as you're coming out with yet more praise, and I don't mean to be nitpicking, but I did find sometimes I felt the pace was a bit nervy, like they were rushing to do it as if they didn't quite have confidence, or the producer stroke director didn't quite have confidence in the material. So, keep it moving and they won't notice. Produced by Sam Michell. Yeah.
I felt the pace was something that was born out of enough material.
Right. Well,
there was never at any point that I thought, they're dragging this out.
Unlike this show, which we're famous for dragging out, particularly the ending.
I don't think. I think we just. Do you know what? Do you remember? I mean, we started off saying we wanted to do about 30 minutes with this, and then realised that we just couldn't. It was just a waste of time.
You just talk too much.
Yeah, I mean, in fairness, we don't speak to each other all week.
Yeah, but we shouldn't make everyone else suffer our inane conversations.
I don't know. I'd love everyone else to suffer, to be honest with you.
Yeah, okay. Share and share alike. Anyway, so what's our total? 3.5 plus 4.5. You've probably total. Is that 8?
It's 11.
Yeah, that's what you want to give it. Yeah. Turn it up to 11.
So
that's a perfectly respectable score.
8 out of 10. Very good. Yeah, very good indeed. Not bad for the lads. You're absolutely right as well. Adrian did say that I would put links in, and I couldn't find anything that you can buy yet, or it's on DVD, but CD rather. But I guess one of the things that the BBC does is that they sell stuff on iTunes, don't they?
Right.
So it may well be that will come out in the near future. So if you're listening overseas and you think, I can't get hold of it, then don't give up. Keep looking and seeing if you can find The Pin.
Yes, and their website. Sorry, just quickly, thepincomedy.com. So you'll find links to gigs and all of that.
Yeah, the lads have got their own website. Okay, brilliant. Yeah, but thanks for that. I owe one because I really did enjoy that. Really enjoyed it.
Well, you owe me one right now. Then what are you going to give me as homework for next week?
I've got it's a new comedy, newish comedy, and it's just started its second series. But I'm going to take us back just because I'm a coward to series 1, episode 1.
Okay, no harm in that.
Just to make sure it's a TV show this time round rather than radio, and
we should do this as charade, shouldn't we? Just drop my pen.
Yeah.
How many syllables?
I don't know whether this is 2 words or 1 word though. That's the problem.
No, it's not going very well. Right.
It's one of those. You know what I mean? So I've already fallen at the first hurdle, as it were. It is all right. Let me say 2 words to you and see whether it actually
make them clean. I see, not those 2 words. Right.
One of them's off, right? No,
you're
off. If I said to you, Roisin Connerty,
Roisin,
does that make it? Do you know her? Have you come across her?
No, I thought I did for a moment. Then I realised I was thinking of I don't know Ronnie Ancona or someone. But no, I probably don't. Then
okay. I first saw her in. Have you ever seen Man Down with Greg Davis?
No.
Okay, I first saw her in that, which is a Channel 4 comedy.
Yeah.
And she was one of Greg Davis's dysfunctional friends.
Right.
She's like really, she's a little bit wappy and a bit, dysfunctional and a bit weird and very funny kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember at the time thinking, she's got enough to sustain certainly that character in something else. And I kind of get the impression, I don't know whether it is a direct transfer, but I kind of get the impression that it is that kind of similar sort of character that she's playing.
Right.
She plays a woman in her 30s who is just struggling with life, really. I think she's been through a relationship breakup.
Mm-hmm.
And the TV show, it's a Channel 4 TV series, and it's called Game Face.
Game Face.
And I say, I don't know whether that's one word or two word. Some people write it two words, some people write it one word as well. But just being commissioned for a second series, in fact, just showing a second series, I should say, rather. It was commissioned some time ago on Channel 4. And but we're going to go back to Series 1 and Episode 1. And I think that's all there is to say about it, really. There are some other great comedy actors starring it, but I won't mention it because I don't know if they're in the first episode of the first series.
Right.
But you'll see when you have a look through it. But
it's not a reference to a poker game type face, is it? Poker face?
I think, it's kind of like, she's got a game face on, like, despite everything that life's throwing at her. I've got my game face on now, so I'm going to tackle this seriously sort of thing. Yeah, I think it is a kind of similar sort of thing, really. I think that's the whole, it's about her struggling with her mental attitude with what life throws at her, I think, is the premise of it, really. Okay.
Game Face, Series 1, Episode 1, Channel 4.
I think it's on all four as well, if you want to catch it on the old website. If you want to watch it before you hear the podcast, and you can sing along then when we do it.
Yeah. Won't that be fun? Yeah. Okay. In the meantime, we are somewhat inevitably at Comedy Slab on Twitter and Facebook as well. If you could follow us on Twitter, that'd be fab. And it's more sprinkling, really. I have an inkling there's sprinkling of the odd relevant tweet, a retweet or whatever, some comedy we think you might like. We pick up on previous shows, really, that we've previously slabbed. And Facebook, it would be lovely to have a big thumbs up from your good selves, and a recommendation to friends and family, and also a generous star rating on the Tunes of I or Apple Podcasts.
Do you know, it's also nice as well. I like this. I don't know if you're the same as well. But when like we've seen stuff or we've given a review of something that we liked, we both liked. And then it gets another series. I was thinking of Stath Lets Flats.
I thought you were going to say Alan Partridge. Give me a second series.
God, yeah. But that's just doing a second series now. This summer, also on Channel 4 as well.
When you say doing, do you mean it's made and going out? Already?
Yes. I don't think it's going out right now.
Probably autumn.
No, it's part of the summer schedule.
Oh, right, okay.
In fact, Channel 4 have got quite a big, as part of like Year of the Rabbit, Game Face, Stath Lets Flats. There's a new Irish comedy. Well, it's a British comedy with two Irish actresses in it called This Way Up.
Right.
I think they've got about 4 or 5 that that they're advertising at the moment. Which I think well done to Channel 4 for their comedy output, because they seem to really care about it, which is really nice.
We're all for that.
In fact, I think they're leading the way. I think they're leading everybody else in their wake, to be honest with you, at the moment. But there you go. If you like the Comedy Slab podcast, don't forget you can catch up with previous episodes. In fact, I've got a list here of all the ones that we've done. So if you want to hear Stath Lets Flats, for example, that was episode 7 of the Comedy Slab. And you can find all the previous episodes just by a simple flick of the finger, if that's how you scroll these days.
I thought that was rude. But,
no, if you flick it that way, it's all right. If you flick it that way.
Well, don't do it that way then.
Well,
we'll have to have an e-certificate now. Same to you.
I'm going to flick it that way again. That's 3 I've done in a row now.
Total flicker.
Yeah, you can't help it. Don't forget you can catch us on all the other places where you get your podcasts as well. All those other episodes are on, well, we live on Spreaker, but you can catch us at iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Spotify, YouTube, and all the other lovely places to get the previous episodes, our previous back catalogue, as they say.
I thought you were going to say we're also on Dozy, Beaky, Doki, Mickey, and all of that, Mick and Titch. But hey, that's an ancient reference. Check with your history teacher or great-grandparents to decode
Google
that.
it, you lazy devil.
Oh,
Google
right,
it.
yeah, what's it like? Right, so, well, in honour, an homage, if you will, because I'm always dropping my H's, not being very posh, an homage to the pin. Shane is going to move into my new flat, and we're going to do the show from here next week, aren't we? You know, and a few sketches as well.
Oh, I'm just glad it wasn't Morecambe and Wise.
We'd be in the same bed.
Otherwise, I'd end up in the same bed. And to be honest with you, that's how he gets a lot of people into his bed these days.
Well, surely we're talking about my friend and his new girlfriends. All two of them.
Is that your line, Ed? You go, hello, I'll be Eric Morecambe. You can play
wise.
And you'll be wise if you know what's good for you.
And you won't sell many ice creams going that fast. Boom, boom. Right. Is that it? Have we gone? Are we off?
I'm gone.
Join us next time. Have a good week.